Well, the ANC has slammed the protests outside in Nkandla, and it believes one person's interest does not take precedence over that of South Africa's democracy. But in the same breath, it says it hopes Jacob Zuma's latest application to the Constitutional Court is successful because he's an elder and the party loves him. These were the sentiments of Mcebisi Ndletyana as the acting Secretary-General relayed the outcomes of the party's recent NEC meeting. But what is the party really saying here? Well, Professor Mcebisi Ndletyana is with the University of Johannesburg and has authored a book called Anatomy of the ANC in Power. He joins us now live to discuss the state of the governing party. Prof, thank you so much for joining us. Would you describe the ANC at a crossroads?
Well, it is battling to take a decisive step on this, but it is the most decisive it has been on this matter for quite some time now, because Zuma, has breached the law repeatedly, and there was a point when their own integrity commission had decided that he must step down, presented that report, but Zuma refused, and the party would not bring itself to acting against him. And now they've been forced pretty much by circumstances because they face this specter of violence. And as a party in government, they can't help themselves but support the law. So they're being forced into supporting the law. But previously, they've pretty much been mollycoddling him. They've emboldened him to defy the law, to think that he's untouchable. Right? So that's where we are now, and hopefully they will continue to urge ministers to implement the law. And it is somewhat encouraging, belated as it is, that they are supporting the law, that they are denouncing him for violating the law, even though they sympathize. Ultimately, they would want him to cooperate with the law. But the key thing, the test would be, what happens when it defies the law? Are they going to come out boldly and denounce him, or will they still, step back and say, well, we support, let's talk? I think time for talking is now over. The law has been pronounced. Everything is clear in this matter. There are other people who are trying to sow confusion. Everything is clear. We have a person who's violated the law. The courts have decided, and in any civilized society, what the court says goes. And so in this case, it must also go.
Mcebisi, I just want to read out some of the sentiments uttered yesterday from the acting SG, Mcebisi Ndletyana. She said there have been populist and opportunist using deliberate defiance in this matter, and that the current situation in KZN does not represent anything but a popular uprising that has been engineered from within our ranks. What is she saying there? Unpack that for me.
Well, she's saying there are people who are using this sad moment in the ANC to instigate a popular uprising or an opposition to the current leadership of the ANC. As you know, there are people who've styled themselves as RET forces, whatever it's called, whose stance is to delegitimize Ramaphosa's presidency and pretend to be a lot more radical than other people. And so they are using this as a pretext to undermine Ramaphosa. However, you see, this thing has been in the making for quite some time now. The ANC has been laxed about applying its own resolutions and disciplining people. Take, for instance, the decision to disband the MKVA. That decision, that body has been problematic for quite some time now. And they have taken a decision a little while ago to disband it, but they haven't acted on that decision. And now you have, this body has actually degenerated into a militia force, and you have its purported leader, Karl Niehaus, going around making inflammatory statements. They took a while to act against him, and now that they are in a bind, they are trying to act bold. The lesson here is that once you take decisions, if you are a rule-bound organization, you must always consistently act implement your own rules. Inaction emboldens rogues like Carney House. And so they are pretty much reaping what they sowed. And hopefully, you see, the test lies in them acting on the promises they made in that statement. It's not enough to condemn, because they have condemned before, but now what remains to be seen is whether their own structures that they've instructed to investigate and discipline those who are behind this, whether or not they will do that. So it's too early to credit them for issuing this statement. We can only wait and see if they follow through. But if the past is anything to go by, we might not see any actions anytime soon.
What a test for the ANC and the country as a whole and organs of state. Thank you, Mcebisi Ndletyana, Associate Professor with the University of Johannesburg's Department of Politics and International Relations.